I'm Eric Siegel, CEO and co-founder of Gooder AI, and in this video, I'll address why predictive AI valuation is so rare. So as we covered in a previous video, we're differentiating between evaluation and valuation. So evaluation on the left, this is the standard way that data scientists assess the performance of a predictive model, of an ML model, in terms of these technical metrics like precision recall, area under the curve, F-score, even accuracy is a technical metric. And they can be assessed in a vacuum. They don't pertain to anything about how the model is going to be used or the business context. So they're kind of abstract, and they tell you little to nothing about the business value. We also want and need to assess the business value in terms of profit, savings, monetary terms, or any other KPIs that matter to the business. And we call that ML valuation. So you can consider ML valuation the much neglected critical subset of ML evaluation. We need to do them both. Why don't we? I have been in the field of machine learning for 33 years or something like that. And basically, I'm still waiting. So this is an absolutely critical omission. We need to estimate the business value. Why don't we routinely valuate? That is, why don't we routinely forecast the potential business value, the business win of a model, depending on how it's deployed? Well, I mean, it could sort of just be inertia, decades of inertia, a culture thing. Data scientists are in their comfort zone with these abstract metrics. It's too gauche or on the nose to talk money. Well, I think those kinds of things might somewhat be factors, but I think the main answer to the question is that since business value hinges on certain assumptions, certain business factors that are subject to change and uncertainty, that when you draw a profit curve, for example, it still doesn't generally automatically solve the business problem because it has a credibility problem, because it hinges on certain assumptions that are subject to uncertainty. Therefore, to address that, the thing that's gonna make the difference is to do ML valuation through a very particular type of specialized interactive user interface. Our thesis as a company is that ML valuation is not only necessary and generally neglected, but that it requires a very particular kind of interactive UI, and that's what the Gooder AI product is. So, putting it another way, the standard way of assessing the performance of a model in terms of these technical metrics really just comes down to a single number, right? What's the area under the curve? What's the F-score? But the goodness of a model can never be thought of or conceived just as one single number. For one thing, you can't just say, how good is this model? How much is it worth financially? You can't say this model's worth $1 million because it depends on the business context and it depends on how you're going to use the model. So when we make the much needed fundamental move from technical metrics to also calculating, estimating, forecasting the potential business performance, the business metrics of the model in a particular deployment, we need to include the business context. So here's three particular ways that, or reasons why it can't just be a single number. One is that there's always competing KPIs. The bottom line, the hard-nosed profit or savings or monetary value is never the only consideration. There's pragmatics, there's certain constraints, there's ethical considerations, there's always competing KPIs to strike the balance between them. Any one metric has a whole range of potential values depending on where you draw the decision boundary that we've covered in another video, the profit curve video. There's this range of, are we going to treat the top 5%? Are we going to block the top 5% of transactions as potentially fraudulent? Are we going to contact the top 12% of customers as potentially responsive, et cetera? And then lastly, as I mentioned a moment ago, we have these business factors that are put into the formula, the arithmetic to calculate that business value, the profit savings, or whatever KPI matters, that for which we can sort of make guesstimations, Fermi estimations. We have ranges of possible values, but they're subject to uncertainty and or change. So we need to parameterize them. We need to let you interact with them. So that's what Gooder AI does. Its interface is entirely designed to handle these kinds of things. This is just a small screenshot of part of the screen of the charts and table you'll see, but it includes a table of competing KPIs that those values change as you move the decision boundary. That again is the other thing, right? You can move that from left to right. In this case, it's set at 5%. We're going to target for retention for this particular use case, the top 5% of customers most likely to cancel. And then those business parameters. So because we have these factors, and there could be a number of them, in this case there's 3, that are part and parcel to the arithmetic under the hood of calculating a metric such as profit or savings, we need to provide this human intuition that you gain by interactively moving the value of those parameters, moving those sliders or just typing in values for those either way, and seeing how it changes the entire shape of the curve. Where is the peak of the curve horizontally? How high is the peak? Other aspects of the shape. The curve tells a story about a potential deployment options and where you're putting the decision boundary, and that story changes. To what degree does it change? Does it change too much? Do we have too much uncertainty, or does it not really make that big a difference as far as what ultimately what we need to do is inform the business decision of whether, which, and how. Whether the project is ready for deployment, which of the competing models, in this case we see 2, should be used for deployment, and then how, including namely the position of that decision boundary. So these different capabilities put together for predictive AI, and the capability to create charts like this, profit curves, savings curves, what have you, where the y-coordinate up to down is the business metric, the money, and the x-coordinate left to right is the decision boundary of the deployment options that need to be navigated by humans from a business standpoint. What this all amounts to is the business console for predictive AI. So Gooder AI is a very particular kind of interactive UI, which amounts to a business console for running predictive AI. That's, once it's been set up by the data scientist, it's very informative and revealing to both the data scientist and their business stakeholder. In the next video, we'll show a demo of Gooder AI.